Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, I hope you enjoyed your 4th.
I did.
The pageantry around the area was inspiring. It was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
We had the kids, the golfers in town.
Nice.
Parents, children everywhere, American flags.
And it was a beautiful day, too.
A lot of pageantry.
Yes.
You remember a couple of weeks ago we had Colonel Havenstein on and Robert Milligan.
Yep.
And we had the two, the owner of Terrace Ridge Farm.
Yep.
And the gentleman who owns Victory Gardens, retired military. And the theme was that we were talking all about service after a career in the military and some of the nets that are provided to the people of the area. July 4th is a celebration of our country, and it's also a time to highlight the different levels of service that happen. They kind of fly under the radar, but if my two guests who are sitting to my left have any say about it, they're going to take it up above the radar today, I think. And we're going to be speaking about the Miss Veteran American Crown contest. Is that how I should introduce you all? What is the name of the event that you're vying for?
It's actually the Miss Veteran American competition.
There you go. There was an article on the pilot that just came out the other day. All of a sudden, this particular event has been put in front of our eyes and our ears and our nose, and you're here to tell us all about it. And who are you? Well, Arnie Cobos, who's to my left, you're retired military. You're a broker with the Angela Thompson team at Keller Williams. How long have you been in Moore County?
So I've been working with Angela for approximately 6 years now.
Okay.
And I've been serving Moore County for about that much time, but I've been in the Fort Bragg area for over 20 years.
So you decided to retire here in Moore County?
I've
from the
decided
military.
to retire in the Fort Bragg area.
Gotcha. And Margarieta Gellman, who's here, I had the privilege of meeting you back in 2016
Yep.
with your husband, Brian, and Team Rubicon.
Oh, yeah.
We had him on the show. We had you guys on the radio show at that time, and I got to witness firsthand the type of service that Team Rubicon offers. I had not heard of Team Rubicon at the time, and we were introduced by a gentleman by the name of Phil Joins.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember Phil.
We still are, actually, Phil's daughter is still in contact with us. I think Phil retired, though. So.
He did. He did. And you provided some volunteers to us, and we were trying to help a family sell a home that needed some cosmetic work, more than just cosmetic work. And the day that we all met, that Saturday, I think you brought 16 or 18 volunteers. They all came from Raleigh, from Cary, from this area, even from Virginia, if I recall.
Yes, Bill. We had gray shirts. We like to call them gray shirts. And when they heard about the mom and the dad and the 8 children and what she was on a pressing timeline to get out of the house. So we needed to flip this house like yesterday.
Right.
So we made a call out to all our gray shirts, and they answered the call, and they came. It was actually over multiple weekends that we worked on that house. I think it was 3 weekends that we turned the house over.
Yeah, and it wasn't just painting. It was installing floors. It was handyman specials every which way.
Right.
Putting the house into great shape so we could resell it and give the proceeds to the family who needed it at the time.
Right.
So Team Rubicon is still a big part of your. So both of you are involved in service to the public, service to the military. It's not just what you say; you do it every day as almost second nature.
I think that's just how I've always been,
Right.
and how Arnie's always been. In fact, my husband. That's how we met, through Team Rubicon. So
Is that right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Brian
I
and
didn't
I
know
had
that.
an interview, and he hired me to be the lead for Moore County. And then the next thing I know, I'm on my way down to Harvey, and Margarita's sitting next to me on a plane, and I'm texting Brian going, hey, I'm sitting next to your wife. And next thing I know, and then we're like sisters after that. We became best friends.
So tell me about this this venture, Miss Veteran American. It's a competition.
yes, actually, it is a program under the umbrella of Final Salute Incorporated. Final Salute Incorporated is a veteran service organization
Okay.
founded by veterans for female homeless veterans. And it has a three-pronged process of spreading awareness, spreading advocacy, and spreading empowerment to female veterans that are really struggling to find suitable and safe housing for them and their children. And Final Salute, the founder of Final Salute, Jazz Booth, I'm going to throw her name out there because she does deserve credit. 2010, she was one of those people, and she decided that something has to be done because our government is not doing as much as it could be.
So, as I read through some of your notes, in between the lines, I was going to ask you the question. You're trying to fill a void that the government is not providing adequate. Has this always been the case?
It's been the case for a very long time. I was one of those people back in the late 80s. And if you actually look at how the government defines homelessness,
Yeah.
many women veterans do what we call couch surfing, essentially bouncing around from sofa to sofa to sofa from different people's homes. And so I was living at a friend's house. I was living at my parents' house for a very short time. I was living at another friend's house, but never basically unsheltered. And with that being said, I was not, according to HUD or even the Veterans Affairs Department, considered to be homeless. And unfortunately, I didn't have a job at the time. I had a small child, but I had a roof over my head, so therefore I wasn't homeless. Mm-hmm. And then also, they get their numbers from other locations too. They get their numbers from Veterans Affairs Department, through the VA system, and 82% of women veterans don't seek care through the veterans facilities. They don't sign up for that.
Because they have no faith in the system?
Part of it's that. Also, the system doesn't provide adequate care for female veterans.
Why is it that when we speak about aftercare for a lot of military people coming home, it's not about women, it's about men? Or if it's not about just men, it's never specifically about women.
I feel like that, the medical field overall doesn't have a handle on women's health, Most of the research that has been done, and you can, I don't know the statistics on that, but most of the research that has been done has been redone on, I hate to say this, but white young males, right? So that goes from heart attacks, diabetes, everything goes through that metric. So male biology and female biology is completely different.
Right.
And the heart attack, symptoms for a female completely different from the heart attack symptoms of a male.
That's right.
And that goes across the board to include, reproductive health, to include mental health. It's just not there. They don't have the research. So therefore, out of sight, out of mind. And that's what we're talking about here, because these veterans, female veterans that have kids, they are the invisible homeless. They're fall through the cracks, so therefore out of sight, out of mind.
When you're talking about them, you mention the women, you mention the kids. You're not mentioning spouses.
Well, that's part of the reason why they're in that situation. Because, if anything that 2020 has shown us is that our fortunes can change in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
And sometimes when female veterans get out, they can't transition as quickly. And they might find themselves, separating from their spouse. And now they're single with kids.
The marriage statistics for military, not impressive, not good.
No. And additionally, when some of these soldiers come home, or even if they haven't deployed, they're in situations that may not be conducive to a healthy living environment. And they leave that situation, like many people do in our society.
Yeah.
And they have nowhere to turn. They don't have the resources to go where they need to go. Much of the situation, like anything else, that the military is not prepared for the sexual assault, sexual harassment situation, whether it be domestic violence or not domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And so they leave those situations, and where do they go? The military doesn't have suitable training for that. So they don't have a faith in that system either. And they're walking out of that situation to provide for what? For their families, and they don't have anything. So.
Yeah. Even in the business that you're in today, the real estate business, you see a lot of situations come up where properties have gone on the market due to marriages breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I mean, the divorce rate is high in a normal situation, but in the military, the stresses and the rigors are seem so much more intense that it seems more amplified.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right.
And when you add mental health issues, and you add substance abuse, then then these women find themselves not in a safe environment. They have to leave, and now they have unstable housing. And without stable housing, you can't get a job, you can't rent, your credit score goes down. So everything hinges on having that permanent home, permanent safe home.
Mm-hmm. And then when you think about the expense of, okay, now I have a job, but every dime that I'm making goes to pay for daycare.
Right.
Right.
So I can't afford to buy food because I'm not making enough to pay for food because I got to pay that daycare bill.
Right.
It sounds like the deck is just so stacked against success, against them. You say that the plight of these women, it's the fastest growing homeless population are women.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Well, the statistics are 2.2 million of us signed up, to serve. And according to the VA, VA healthcare system since 2016. So they knew this from 2016, and I'm sure that number, but we can't get the numbers up from there.
Right.
150,000 of them have been reported homeless for that. And that's unacceptable. That really is unacceptable, because they have sacrificed their youth, they have sacrificed their bodies, and they have sacrificed their mental health to serve this nation. And what do they get in return? They get a system that is not working for them.
Yeah.
So we have to step up. We have to step up and say, hey, we can give you a hand.
Yep. Enough's enough.
So prior to Final Salute, where did these women go? Who did they speak to? Were there agencies out there they could reach out to? How did, they were just sort of, it was a lonely existence?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And Arnie can attest for that, and I have friends who can attest for that. And fortunately, we've been able to have the support, the family support, to not be in that situation. But a lot of them don't.
Nope.
Arnie, why can you attest to that? Were you in a situation where you were in transition and didn't know where to go?
Exactly. I didn't have a job. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get a stable enough job to put a roof over my son's head. I had to couch bounce, and
You were a single mom?
I was a single mom. And I was just fortunate enough that I had good friends, and my family, my parents, with what little they had, trying to do what they were doing, were able to at least let me stay with them and work with us enough to help try to pay for my bills, but they couldn't. They didn't have it. They barely had it when I lived with them.
How many years was your struggle before you establish some sort of a platform where you had a stable existence?
I was fortunate enough that I never actually had a sincere break in service. So I went straight into the reserves, and my reserve unit was amazing. And they got me back on active duty through the LPN course. And that was a year of active duty service while in the reserves. And so I was able to take my son with me and live on active duty. And then Desert Storm happened during that time. It took forever to get back on active duty, but then they finally said, come on down, because I had a good license to work with, and I was able to get back on active duty. But not everybody has that break either.
Yeah. Let's come back in the second set. We want to talk more about this competition. We want to talk more about Final Salute and what progress you're making, because what you're doing is you're trying to, through this competition, create awareness, and that's why you're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is All Things More County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our second set of All Things More County. Our guests are Arnie Cobos to my left and Margarieta Gellman. Both ladies are here to talk about not just the Miss Veteran America competition, but the reasons why they're involved in it. And it's in support of an organization called Final Salute that is committed to providing better nets for women in the who have been in the military, who maybe want a hand up but not a hand out. No different than a Habitat for Humanity situation. I have not heard of Final Salute. I need to ask you and to tell me about them and how they came to be, how you discovered them, and what part they're playing in this competition, which we'll talk about later in the show.
Okay.
Margarieta, I'll start with you.
So, Final Salute, like you said, is for female homeless veterans. When we get out of the military as female veterans, we're still very proud. We're very proud. We don't, because we've been in that culture of I can do it, we don't want to ask for help. And that's the hardest thing we do. I struggle with it. I know Arnie struggles with it. And sometimes you just have to say, I need help. I can't do it alone. But there are not a lot of places that they can turn to, because it, like we said earlier, the system just seems to be stacked up against them. So in 2010, Final Salute was born, and it was with programs to help female veterans find suitable and safe housing so they can have housing and daycare and financial education, and help them transition into permanent homes for them and their children. And it's a great. I mean, it's just a sisterhood of veteran females helping us each other out.
Did you have any of the same experiences that Arnie had when she got out?
I did not, because fortunately, I didn't have a break-in service like Arnie. Well, my break-in service was from active duty to reserves, and that was kind of hard because when I got out of active duty, there was not a lot of programs for reservists, even though I was still serving. And if it wasn't for my husband, then that would have been hardship for myself,
right?
Because I had to get out of the active duty. However, my mom, she married military. She married my father, who was Coast Guard.
Right.
He married her, and she's first generation immigrant. So coming over here, being part of a military, married to the military, and of course he had substance abuse problems, and so she found herself single, not knowing the language very well, not knowing who to trust, not even having a command of what services are out there for her. So she took the advice of the few friends that she did have, and they gave her some bad advice, and she's been couch surfing too with two littles because, we were 5. I was 5, I think, when I finally got, we finally got some help. So I don't remember a lot of it, but I tried to get, throughout the years, my mother to talk about it, but it was so painful for her, for the struggles she had to face. She just couldn't get herself to even tell me as an adult, and that broke my heart. And I said, you know what, I got to do better.
Well, that explains in some part your inspiration for your desire to participate in this program now. Maybe your mother's memory.
Yes.
Even though it didn't happen to you, it happened to her.
Yes, and oh my God, now I gotta start crying. When we were doing the competition, she passed in 2017 of diabetes. She actually lasted longer because she's stubborn, and she lasted longer than most on dialysis. And when we were at the competition on the 9th we just got back from the semifinals, Miss Veteran America, and while we were there, right before my talent competition, I just was overwhelmed because the women that were there competing, there were 16 of us competing in the semifinals, and they were just so supportive and so loving, and I wish my mom had that kind of support because...
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, but you know what? Your mom left you something to continue to pursue on her behalf, and that's what you're doing, and you're staying in action.
Well, I kind of wish that she would have been there to see us, because she would have been so happy that I'm doing something with my life. Because coming over, she's coming over from the Philippines, not knowing too much. That she pressed education. She pressed, she said, I want you to do better than me.
Yeah.
And that's what all immigrant moms want, and I just wish she was able to see that, and she wish she would be able to see my family, because now I have 3 kids that I want them to see that community is everything.
Right.
And you have to participate. You can't just stay on the sidelines,
That's right.
And I want them to see that their mom is going to do that and continue to do that. And you have to set the example if no one else will step up. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. The programs that Final Salute espouses, can you talk a little bit about them? And they have a 3-prong approach.
Arnie? I think you could talk.
And we're going to get her a little bit closer to the mic.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3-prong approach is, like Margarieta spoke of earlier, is awareness, advocacy.
Yep, you have a hard time with that word, huh? Yeah.
And empowerment.
Yep.
So we're trying to bring awareness to the program and to these women.
Yep.
Additionally, the program brings home, which is housing, opportunity, mentorship, and encouragement. That's the first program. And then they also have the SAFE program, which is savings, assessment, financial, and education. And then they also offer the new uniform program, which is... Actually, it's the Next Uniform Program. I'm sorry. The Next Uniform Program. Well, the Next Uniform Program is a whole day of getting classes on how to write a
how to write a resume, how
resume.
to do an interview, how to, they'll even have
A beauty day.
a beauty day.
They get like
a makeover.
a whole makeover, how to walk, how to talk, and they get a whole new outfit. And when they get that done, they're ready to go out into the world so that they can get another job. They get lined up for jobs as well. And these programs help them get into transitional housing, as well as places to get daycare, safe daycare, and so on, to help them to be prepared to go and do these job interviews and to be in places where they can actually get good jobs, satisfactory jobs, and still take care of their families.
Yeah.
And the SAFE program is also out there for not just homeless women. It's also available to active reserve and National Guard as well, to provide education, kind of like with Habitat, where they can get, they have to go through and get some kind of hours on learning how to take care of their financial systems. And when they're out there doing that, this provides them abilities to get assistance with their rent if they're in back have
in
arrears on their financial stuff,
right,
and or other debts, but they have to be showing this.
Yeah.
So that's what's amazing about the programs that they have. And then, of course, there's the Miss Veteran America competition.
Well, we want to come back in the third set and talk about that competition, but I need to just interject. A few weeks ago, there's a gentleman living here in Pinehurst by the name of Robert Milligan, who was an instructor at the Darden School. He still is. He's still very active. He ran a couple of businesses. He preps and prepares people leaving the military to do just exactly what you said: how to prepare a resume, how to package yourself, how to market yourself. And Colonel Havenstein, I don't know if you know him, Walter Havenstein, he is very much involved in the local Moore County community.
Oh, wow.
Both gentlemen are 100% committed to providing an avenue for people coming out of the military to transition, because they're learning a different language, right? A whole different set of rules. You all should connect.
Yes.
And I will hook you up.
Amazing.
Oh, awesome.
They were on, I don't know. Dorothy, you remember Robert Milligan and Walt? Weren't they great?
Yes.
They were on about 3, I think they were on after Memorial Day.
Yeah, I think it was the Saturday after Memorial Day.
Yeah. You need to be able to speak with them. They can help. You may even be able to speak at one of their meetings.
Oh, that'd be great.
To educate, right. And that's what I'm, the cool thing about Moore County, right, is you get to know people. You can hook them up and boom, let it go. When you know people, it's great to do, and you need to get up with them. And I'll speak to Bob and let him know what we did, and I'll have him watch the show.
Oh, that would be great.
I want to come back in the third set. Want to talk about the competition. You were purposeful in saying do not call it a pageant, and I think I know why now.
Yes.
But let's talk about the competition when we come back. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our third and final set of All Things Moore County. Final Salute is the founding organization that is one of the things that they do is they're sponsoring a Miss Veteran American competition. And my two guests, both Arnie and Margarieta, are semifinalists. And, we've had people on. We've had Miss Senior America on. That's a different type of competition.
Oh, wow.
More of a pageant type situation. And she's been traveling all over the country. Her husband's a councilman at the village of Pinehurst. They live in Pinewild. This is a different type of competition. And we don't want to call it a pageant. What do we want to call it? Informational, awareness, resource for people that you're trying to reach?
Well, I mean, it's the competition. And the competition really is to find the individual who will best represent the organization.
Right.
To go out there and bring more awareness, but we're all of us representatives of this organization to bring awareness. So whether any of us get elected as the winner or on the court, we're still all representatives.
That's right.
Of the organization. So we're all winners.
So it's identifying somebody whose values are consistent with Final Salute so that you become the figurehead or the spokesperson for the organization. Will there be traveling involved?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Traveling, interviews. We just want to get the word out, and it'll just ramp up what we're doing already on a bigger stage. And that's what, I mean, right now, all 26 of us, I guess now, in this cohort are ambassadors for Final Salute. So we are going out there spreading the good word, making sure that everybody is, but at the end of the day, these programs that we just talked about cost money,
Yeah.
you know, and so we have to raise funds. So
Yep.
it's a nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. It costs $25 a day to feed one homeless female veteran.
They never taught us how to fundraise in school.
no.
It wasn't part of our education, right? I took history, psychology, took fundraising. How do you think outside the box and do it? There's so many agencies in Moore County, right, that have a great reason to be.
Right.
They're all fundraising. They're all so you have to brainstorm. You have to think of things to do. This is one of them. This format. So you need to raise money for the women that you're espousing, that you're trying to support.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that, at the end of the day, that's what it is. This competition is just a fundraiser, so that way we can do our part and continue to serve the thousands of female veterans that still need it.
So the 26 people that are left in the competition, is that what you had said?
Mm-hmm.
26?
26.
So do you think that they, or the majority of them, have their own personal stories that put them in this position? Yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. On June 9th? No.
July 9th.
July 9th.
This
oh
Saturday.
My gosh.
Yep.
July 9th, we'll find out who's going to be picked. There's only 20 finalists that go on to the national competition back in Florida. And we'll find out on the 9th.
So since this show will air on the 9th,
I know.
we're going to find out today, right? By the
Right,
time it airs.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then you go to Florida for the next round.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, we're going to, I'm still going to go down there and support my
Yeah.
sisters, whoever gets picked.
So if people want to reach you on social media, where do they go? Where do they go to get information?
So right now, we do have pages on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It is.
I see that G4. Tell me, Margarieta G4 MVA 2022.
Yes, yes, and then Arnie's Arnie
see that.
C for MVA at 20.
Okay, so those are your Facebook.
Right. Put an @ in front of it. It'll take you straight to it.
I'm going to give Nicola Squires all this information, who's doing this video for us today, so we can post it on the podcast. So Facebook and Instagram.
Yes,
right
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we're also on Twitter as well. So we'll give you guys those links for that.
And we'll give you the links for our each of our donation links so that you can donate as well.
Okay.
And any denomination for donations is helpful, because
Yes.
$10.
Our sisters need this, so anything will help.
So like $10 can pay for like a phone bill or child care or whatever, So
Yeah. There's a lot of noise out there with so many competing agencies for everything. Everyone's fundraising. I mean, GoFundMe pages appear on social media all the time. Everyone's got a cause. And the information that gets out to us it's so quick. Sometimes it gets lost in the maze. Does the organization, does Final Salute have a national spokesperson? Do they have a media campaign that you can sort of hitch your wagon to?
Well, actually, that is the ambassador that takes the reins every year as the winner and their court. And then they have a GoFundMe page as well.
Okay.
And Final Salute does have a link, which we will send.
Okay.
That you can donate through.
Okay.
Which will be their homepage.
Yeah.
And so we'll send the link to that particular page for you.
FinalSaluteINC.org.
Okay. I'm going to put you both on the spot.
Uh-oh.
You're now in a room with 400 people. They've never heard of Final Salute. They've never heard about this competition. Yes, the pilot just came out with an article, so awareness is starting. What do you want those 400 or 500 people to know, and why should they get behind this organization? In other words, all the things that you've said so far, but how do you appeal to them one-on-one, in a heartfelt way? Because people, if they're touched, they'll be motivated. I mean, what would you like to say to an audience? You can broadcast it anywhere. Arnie?
There are so many women veterans out there that have done their duty. They have served. And the female women veterans population is the fastest growing homeless population in America right now.
It's crazy.
And with that being said, it takes $25 a day to feed these women. And with our support and donations, then we can help them get to safe and suitable housing and to get educated and get money services and training, and also to feed their children and get them into better place and give them a hand up, not a handout.
Right. That's very well said. Yeah. Margarieta?
One of the judges on our competition, Sergeant Major, she had said that the difference between a male veteran and a female veteran, stark difference. Every single female veteran, 2.2 million of us, have volunteered, have put our hand. We didn't need incentives. We didn't need, to be coerced into putting up our hands and saying, I will serve because it is the right thing to do. Final Salute is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. Final Salute is to pay back those female veterans who are on hard times, and we got to help our own. And that's what we're doing. Every single one of us that are ambassadors for Final Salute, that are part of the competition or part of the next uniform program, we are all on a sole mission to help our sisters in arms. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you can only do, if we all do our part, then this would not be a problem. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing today. Mm-hmm. We're doing our part because we cannot stand on the sidelines and let this happen any longer.
And you're doing your part because the government and the Department of Veteran Affairs is actually not doing theirs. I mean, I'll say it. You don't have to say it. It's not providing what ample support. So an organic grassroots type group needs to. But that's what's so great about this country. You can do that here, and you can ring the bell for a cause. And it's not about the government. It doesn't have to be. You can do it yourself. I mean, what you're doing is admirable.
And that's what's fantastic about living here in Moore County.
Yeah.
Because everybody here is amazing.
Yeah.
And I've only been here for, 5 years now, you know? And
Is that it? No, more than that. I met you in 2016.
How long ago was that?
That was
6 years?
6 years ago.
Oh, my God. Has it been 6
So
years?
we've known each other for 6 years, girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
Just saying.
So of the two of you, who recruited the other to this program?
Oh, here's a good story on that. So she said it a while back. And then my soldier ran for the competition and made first runner-up. And she said, "First, Arndt, you should run for this." And I said, "You know what? No." And then she had some things going on in her life. And I said, "You know what? Because you made first runner-up and because I really want to support you." And Margarita and I and her were working on a separate project. I dragged my sister along with me, kicking and screaming, because she said she wanted to do something and I was going to make her come out of her comfort zone to do it. And here we are.
And out of my comfort zone I am, because I do not do girly stuff.
Well,
Neither do I.
but you both are trying to pay it forward, and it's about service to others, not to yourself. And it's very admirable. It's a great way to live, by the way. And, you want to spread the word about female veteran homelessness. I rarely hear those three words together anyway.
Yeah.
Sitting here, now I'm listening, and when I was reading your notes, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's something that had never... There's so many things in this world that, if you think about it all, you never leave the house. Oh my gosh.
Right.
This event and what Final Salute is set up is a great way to get the word out.
Yes.
And we're going to introduce you to Bob and to Walter.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank
And I
you.
bet you something will come of that as one of the layers of building it. Regardless of how the competition goes, you guys are both in it to get the message out, so you're all coming from a good place. So you're supporting each other that way, right? There's no winner
absolutely.
and there's no loser. They're just really heartfelt participants.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think someone asked us that. They were like, "How can you compete against each other?" And I'm like, "I'm not competing
You're not
against Arnie. We're just doing this together because it's fun,
Yeah.
and we do everything together."
Yeah, absolutely. So if she wins, I'm still going with her. And if I win, she's coming with me.
Exactly.
We do everything together. Where she goes, I go. And where I go, she goes.
That's
It's
right.
just the way we are. We're sisters.
Arnie Cobos, thanks for coming in. Good luck. Enjoy. Oh, you don't need luck. I should say congratulations on the participation. And Margareta Gellman, the same to you. And it's good to see you. And please send my regards to Brian.
Absolutely.
And I'll never forget what Team Rubicon did for our clients.
Absolutely, Bill. Thank you for the opportunity for us to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, both of you. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.